There's a strange assumption people make about therapists, that they have it all together, that they figured life out, that they don't struggle the way others do, that they're somehow above the chaos of the human mind. But here's the truth no one really says out loud. Therapists are humans too. Some thoughts are too loud to ignore, but too quiet to say out loud. This is Echoes of the Mind Vault, where we uncover the hidden battles of the mind and give a voice to what you've been silently carrying. Therapists. They sit in rooms every day, holding space for pain, listening to stories of trauma, grief, anxiety, depression. They help others untangle thoughts, regulate emotions, find meaning in the mess. They become the calm in someone else's storm. But what happens when the storm is inside them? Because being a therapist doesn't mean you don't overthink at 2 a.m. It doesn't mean you don't question your worth, or replay conversations in your head, or carry emotional weight that doesn't just disappear when the session ends. You can understand coping strategies all you want, but still struggle to use them. You can teach grounding techniques and still feel completely ungrounded. There's a quiet pressure that comes with being the strong one, the one people turn to, the one who listens, the one who knows what to say. But over time, you start to feel like you've always have to be that person, even when you're breaking inside. Because admitting you're struggling feels complicated. There's a voice that whispers, you should know better. You're the therapist. You're supposed to have the tools. So instead of reaching out, you hold it in. You analyze your own emotions like a case study. You try to fix yourself quietly behind the scenes. But pain doesn't disappear just because you understand it. And insight doesn't replace support. Here's something we rarely talk about. Therapists absorb a lot. Not just stories, but emotions, energy, patterns, pain that lingers long after the session ends. And even with boundaries, even with training, it adds up. There are days when the weight feels heavier than usual, when the empathy turns into exhaustion, when compassion starts to feel like depletion, when you sit in your car after a long day and just breathe, trying to reset before going home. And then there's the internal conflict, knowing exactly what you would tell a client in your situation, but struggling to follow your own advice. Telling others to rest while you keep pushing yourself. Encouraging vulnerability while avoiding your own. Reminding others they're not alone while quietly feeling alone yourself. And this is where the truth begins to change. Needing therapy doesn't make a therapist less credible. It makes them human. In fact, some of the most effective therapists are the ones who sat down on the other side of the room. Who knows what it feels like to open up, to be vulnerable, to face parts of themselves they'd rather avoid. Because therapy isn't about having all the answers. It's about willing to explore the questions. And no one, no matter how trained, is exempted from needing that space. Seeing a therapist as a therapist isn't weakness. It's a form of responsibility, a way of saying, I can't pour endlessly without refilling. I can't hold space for others if I don't have space for myself. And maybe the hardest part is giving yourself permission to be human, to not have it all figured out, to feel overwhelmed, to need help, without attaching shame to it. Because the truth is, the mind doesn't care what your profession is. Oh no. It doesn't give exemptions. It doesn't say, oh yeah, you're a therapist, you're safe. You still feel, you still struggle, you still carry things. And sometimes you need someone to sit across from you and hold space for your story. So if you're a therapist or someone who feels like they always have to be the strong one, this is your reminder. You don't have to do it alone. You're allowed to need support. You're allowed to seek help. You're allowed to not be okay sometimes, because healing isn't about reaching a point where you never struggle again. It's about learning to face those struggles with support, with honesty, with compassion for yourself. Welcome to Echoes of the Mind Vault, where even the ones who help others are reminded they deserve help too.